Mole. You press a button. A chime sounds inside. Someone comes to the door. Simple, ordinary, forgettable. But the doorbell was invented to replace something that killed people. Before the doorbell, visitors announced themselves by pulling a cord or twisting a lever mounted near the entrance. The cord ran through the wall and connected to a bell inside the house. Pull the cord, the bell rang. It worked, it was mechanical, and it was dangerous. The problem was not the bell. The problem was what happened when the cord broke, when the mechanism jammed, or when someone pulled too hard. Visitors stood outside, unable to signal. Homeowners heard nothing. But the deeper problem was darker. The cord itself became a tool for forced entry. By the early 19th century, urban crime was rising in European and American cities. Thieves learned that a doorbell cord could be used to test whether a home was occupied. Pull the cord. If no one answered, the house might be empty. If the cord was slack or broken, the entrance was poorly maintained, possibly abandoned. The cord became reconnaissance. Worse, the cord could be cut. A severed doorbell cord meant visitors could not announce themselves. It meant the household could not hear warning. And it meant someone outside controlled whether the home could receive any signal at all. Police records from London and New York in the 1830s described thefts where the doorbell cord was found cut before entry. The mechanical doorbell had been in use for more than a century by that point. Wealthy homes installed elaborate bell systems with multiple cords running to servants' quarters. Each cord connected to a different bell or set of bells, allowing the household to know which entrance was being used and sometimes which servant was being summoned. The systems grew complex. Some homes had 5 or 6 cords, each requiring maintenance, each representing a potential point of failure. The cords themselves were made of twisted hemp or cotton rope, sometimes wrapped in leather for weather protection. They ran through metal tubes or wooden channels built into the doorframe, then passed through the wall into the entrance hall or servant's passage. The bell mechanism was usually mounted high on a wall or ceiling bracket, positioned where the sound would carry through multiple rooms. The entire system depended on tension. If the cord stretched, frayed, or snapped, the bell would not ring. Maintenance was constant. Cords needed replacement every few years, depending on weather exposure and use frequency. The connection points where cord met bell hardware were particularly vulnerable. Rust, moisture, and repeated stress weakened the joints. A household might not discover the doorbell had failed until an expected visitor complained of waiting outside, unheard. But the system had a fundamental weakness. It required something to pass through the wall. That created a vulnerability. The cord was exposed. It could be seen, touched, tested, and severed. And because the mechanism was entirely mechanical, there was no way to know from inside whether the cord had been tampered with until someone tried to use it and failed. Some homeowners tried to protect the cord by encasing it in metal piping or recessing it into the doorframe. Others installed multiple cords at different entrances, hoping redundancy would prevent total communication failure. A few wealthy households employed servants whose specific duty included monitoring the entrance and testing the doorbell mechanism each morning. None of these measures solved the underlying problem. As long as the signal required a physical cord passing from outside to inside, it could be compromised. The electric doorbell changed that. Instead of a cord that pulled a clapper, it used a button that completed a circuit. Press the button, electricity flowed, the bell rang. No cord to cut, no mechanical linkage to jam, no external lever to manipulate. The signal moved through wire hidden inside the wall. The first electric doorbells were not invented to improve convenience. They were invented to eliminate the security flaw. The earliest designs appeared in the 1870s, shortly after reliable electric batteries and push-button switches became commercially available. The inventor's goal was not to make the doorbell louder or prettier. It was to make forced entry harder. The transition was not immediate. Electric doorbells required batteries, which were expensive and needed replacement. A single battery might last 3 to 6 months depending on use, and replacement batteries were not always easy to obtain outside major cities. Mechanical doorbells were cheaper and required no maintenance beyond occasional oiling of the clapper mechanism. Many homes kept the old cord and bell system well into the 1890s. But urban police departments and security advisors began recommending electric doorbells specifically because they could not be tampered with from outside. Insurance companies in some cities offered reduced premiums for homes with electric doorbells, treating them as a security measure comparable to reinforced locks. The doorbell was being sold not as a luxury, but as protection. By 1900, the electric doorbell was standard in new construction in American cities. The push button was usually brass or porcelain, mounted flush with the door frame. Inside, the bell was often a single chime or a buzzer. The sound was not musical, it was functional. It announced a visitor and nothing more. The design was deliberately simple. Early electric doorbells used a single-stroke bell or a vibrating buzzer. The mechanism was enclosed in a metal or wooden case, mounted on the wall inside the entrance hall or kitchen. There was no attempt to make the sound pleasant. The goal was to be heard, to alert the household that someone was at the door. Installation required an electrician or someone familiar with basic circuit wiring. The button connected to one terminal of a battery. A wire ran from the other battery terminal to the bell mechanism. A second wire ran from the bell back to the button, completing the circuit. When the button was pressed, the circuit closed, current flowed, and an electromagnet inside the bell pulled a small hammer against a metal chime or vibrated a metal diaphragm to produce a buzzing sound. Then the doorbell became decorative. In the 1920s, manufacturers began offering chimes in multiple tones. 2-note chimes, 3-note melodies. Westminster chimes borrowed from church bells. The doorbell was no longer just a signal. It was an accessory, a way to express taste. The security function disappeared into the background. The public forgot why the electric doorbell had been invented. By mid-century, advertisements for doorbells emphasized style and sound quality. No one mentioned cords, forced entry, or tampering. The doorbell had become so ordinary, so expected, that its origin as a crime prevention tool was erased from common knowledge. The transformation was complete. What had been sold as a security device in the 1880s was sold as a decorative feature in the 1950s. The function remained the same, but the reason for that function had been forgotten. The doorbell was no longer a defense, it was decor. Modern doorbells add cameras, intercoms, motion sensors, and internet connectivity. These features are marketed as security upgrades, as if the doorbell had only recently become a protective device. But the doorbell was always about security. The electric doorbell was invented because the mechanical version could be weaponized. The push button was not an improvement in convenience. It was a fix for a flaw that got people hurt. Today, most people do not think about the doorbell at all. It is furniture. It is expected. When it breaks, it is annoying, not dangerous. But every doorbell still does the job it was designed to do in the 1870s. It lets a visitor announce themselves without giving them access to the mechanism. It keeps the signal inside the wall, where it cannot be cut, pulled, or silenced from outside. The doorbell was not invented to make life easier. It was invented to stop something that was happening. The cord and bell system worked until it became a liability. The electric doorbell replaced it not because it was better, but because it was safer. The familiar button by your door is a solution to a problem most people no longer remember existed. And that problem, the one the doorbell was invented to stop, was not noise. It was not inefficiency. It was control. The doorbell moved control of the signal from outside the wall to inside it, from the visitor's hand to the homeowner's circuit. That shift, from mechanical cord to electric button, is what made the doorbell modern. And it is why the doorbell, the ordinary, unremarkable doorbell, was invented to stop something dark.